This week on Hometown Ghost Stories. Calgary, new city, old bones, the Devil's Playground, a schoolhouse torched with every child inside. The field is empty now, except for the laughter that rises when the temperature drops. The Deane House, axe murders, a boy in the attic swinging, blood that sweats through fresh paint, and an apparition still guarding the ground that was stolen long before the foundation was poured. And finally, the Lougheed House. Lady Isabella, forever gazing from the window, the piano that plays a single chord in the dark, and dead couples that turn in an endless, silent waltz. The city sleeps under neon and snow, but beneath it, something ancient is wide awake. This is Hometown Ghost Stories, Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Hometown Ghost Stories contains serious and often distressing events and is not intended for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
It was supposed to be 30 minutes. That was the dare. Half an hour alone on the old grounds of what the locals called the Devil's Playground, a patch of overgrown field where a school once stood, long since torn down after a fire that, according to legend, killed several children inside. Evan didn't believe a word of it. Urban legend, he said, lighting a cigarette as his friends parked along the dirt road. The others stayed in the car, promising to keep the headlights on so he could see. The second he stepped out, the cold hit him. It was that sharp kind of Alberta cold, the kind that stings the inside of your nose and makes every breath look like smoke. The wind had died down completely, leaving the world still and silent. He crossed the ditch and started walking. The beam from the car faded behind him until it was just a distant glow in the fog. There was nothing left here. No swings, no slides, not even a foundation. Just uneven ground, dead grass, and the faint outline of what might have been a stone walkway buried beneath frost. He checked his watch. 2 minutes down. The first sound came around the 10-minute mark. A faint crack somewhere off to his left, like a branch snapping. He spun his flashlight towards it. Nothing. Just the sound of his own breathing, loud and shaky in the cold air. He exhaled, and the vapor hung in front of him, drifting sideways, even though there was no wind. Then he heard it. A laugh. High-pitched. Distant. It was followed by another. Softer this time. His pulse spiked. He turned the light in every direction, but the field was empty. "All right," he muttered. "Screw this." He started walking back toward the car. The headlights seemed farther away than before. The glow smaller, weaker. As he got closer, his flashlight began to flicker. He tapped it, then froze. There were shapes between him and the car. 3 small silhouettes standing perfectly still in the fog. His breath caught in his throat. The light dimmed again, and for a second, he thought the figures vanished, until the car's taillights blinked on, bathing the field in a dull red glow. That's when he saw them clearly. 3 children, or what was left of them. Their outlines shimmered and rippled, and for a brief moment, he could see through them. Burns moving up through their arms, faces blackened, eyes reflecting the tail-light glow like embers. Evan's flashlight dropped to the ground. He stumbled backward, unable to breathe, watching as the figures began to move, slow at first, then jerking closer in uneven steps. The air around him grew warmer, the frost melting under his shoes, and he swore that he could smell smoke. He ran. By the time he reached the car, his friends were screaming for him to get in. They sped off without a word. Evan didn't look back, not until they hit the main road. And even then, through the fog, he could still see a faint red glow in the field, and 3 flickering silhouettes standing where he'd been. I'm Rob Coakley, and this is Hometown Ghost Stories, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Calgary is one of those cities that looks clean and modern on the surface. Steel, glass, the Rockies in the distance, but it didn't grow into that skyline without some scars. Long before the trains and the oil boom, this land belonged to the Blackfoot, the Stoney Nakoda, and other indigenous tribes. Then the Northwest Mounted Police showed up, and Fort Calgary went up along the river, and the whole place took off fast. Ranchers, railroad hands, fortune hunters, everyone piled in, and the tragedies piled in with them. Some of those stories stuck around. Out on the edge of the city, you've got places like the Devil's Playground, an empty patch of ground tied to a fire that destroyed a school and allegedly several students. And right in the heart of Calgary, you'll find houses that have survived being moved, repurposed, and rebuilt until they're practically stitched together with the lives of the people who have passed through them. Two of those buildings stand out, the Lougheed House and the Deane House, places that feel different the second you step through the door. The Lougheed House looks like it should be sitting on the edge of a Victorian painting, manicured gardens, heavy stone walls, and an air of old prestige. Built in 1891 for Senator James Lougheed and his wife, Lady Isabella Hardesty Lougheed, it was never just a family home. It hosted politicians, royalty, artists, and some of Calgary's biggest celebrations. Through the years, it also served as a wartime training center, a barracks for the Canadian Women's Army Corps, a Red Cross clinic, and eventually, a museum. Despite all those changes, the place still feels deeply tied to the family that built it, and that family carried its share of heartbreak. James and Isabella's daughter, Marjorie, died just 3 days shy of her 13th birthday. It's said that she was sick for the majority of her life, and her death was caused from an illness, most likely influenza. Her funeral services were held in the drawing room of the home. Another child, their son Douglas, died at 30. He suffered with depression most of his life, and it's believed he ended things himself. And when the family eventually hit financial trouble, after their parents' death, their son Edgar watched as the city repossessed the home entirely. A house that grand doesn't go through losses like that without something lingering. Lady Isabella is the most frequently reported figure. Visitors have seen a woman in full period dress drifting through the hallways or standing by a window as if she's still keeping track of the place. A childlike figure has been felt in the home as well, many believing it to be Marjorie. Staff say furniture will shift slightly, doors open on their own, and footsteps cross the hardwood floors when the building is quiet. EVP sessions have picked up whispering in empty rooms, cold spots drift through hallways, and one investigation caught a voice saying, "She is coming," right before footsteps moved across the floor overhead. Then, there's the most striking phenomenon tied to the Lougheed House, the ghostly dancers. People have reported a translucent couple waltzing across what used to be the ballroom, moving slowly to a rhythm no one else can hear. The lights dim, the room cools, and then they fade out, disappearing exactly the way they appeared, like they never stopped dancing in the first place. The Lougheed House isn't hostile, and it doesn't feel heavy the way some haunted places do. It feels lived in, like the people who loved it simply never left, and the parties that once filled the ballroom still play out in the quiet hours. The Deane House, on the other hand, is a different story. The Deane House sits right at the bend of the Elbow River, looking like the kind of place that should be harmless, bright red, well kept, a little storybook looking. But this house has lived a lot of lives. It was built in 1906 for Captain Richard Burton Deane of the Northwest Mounted Police. Meant to be a comfortable home for him and his wife, it didn't quite work out that way. She died before the house was even finished, and he never lived there the way it was intended. The house was later moved not once, but twice, dragged around Calgary to sit where it is now. Every time it was uprooted, the stories seemed to follow it. And some of those stories are not small ones. One of the earliest recorded tragedies happened in the attic. A boy who lived in the house had epilepsy and suffered relentless bullying at school. Unable to cope, he took his own life there. Visitors and staff have reported footsteps in the attic, the faint sound of laughter that disappears when you turn toward it, and cold spots on the second floor. Many feel watched, a presence lingering just out of sight, as if he is still moving among the rafters. Perhaps the most unique haunting also occurs in the attic. Many have seen a blood stain up there, and it appears to constantly change in size. The most infamous tragedy at the Deane House occurred in 1971. Roderick Umperville stabbed and strangled his wife Irma before taking his own life. Their children, not neighbors, not passerbys, their own kids, walked into that scene. People have spent time in the house where they've heard muffled crying, felt the temperature drop, or found objects out of place. Some report hearing soft footsteps pacing the hallway when no one else is upstairs. There's also the story of the man killed in a drive-by shooting on the front porch. His death was fast, violent, and out of nowhere. Guests have reported seeing a figure standing just outside the doorway, as if someone is still lingering there, trying to understand what happened in those final moments. And then there's the legless man. This one goes back to a railway worker who was caught under a train and didn't survive. It's believed he found his way to the house in the afterlife, or perhaps worked for the rail company that was once here. For whatever reason, once he got here, he stayed. People have described seeing a torso dragging itself across the floor or up the stairs. It's sudden, startling, and unnerving. It's like he doesn't know that anyone can see him. The more modern stories add their own flavor. A telephone that's never been connected to anything will ring in the middle of quiet afternoons. Staff would answer it out of habit, only to hear nothing but heavy breathing on the other side. A native man with long braids has also been reported, a shadowy figure moving through the halls at night, standing silently in rooms where no one else is present. Footsteps on empty stairs, tugs on clothing, doors opening by themselves, and the infamous blood stain in the attic continue to unnerve staff and visitors. Now, the Deane House operates as a restaurant. Patrons dine, staff go about their work, and the building appears normal to anyone passing by. But those who spend time inside know it is anything but ordinary. Shadows appear in windows. Footsteps are heard in empty rooms. Phones ring with no connection. The tragedies that happened here, and some of those who died, are still here, felt in every corner of the Deane House. Calgary has a reputation for tearing things down and starting fresh. The Deane House has survived moves, renovations, tragedy, and time itself. And somehow, each chapter left something behind.
What's going on, folks? Welcome into Hometown Ghost Stories, episode number 182. I'm Jesse Wilkins, joined by Rob Coakley. Hello, Rob.
If you were going to cut anybody's credit short at the end of that video, I'm glad it was Dave's.
I just realized that at the last second, and I am sorry. Hello, Dave.
Put it back.
What was the credit? You didn't do anything.
I did nothing. I'm here now, though. I get credit for that.
He did some additional research for this episode, so
That's right.
Is that what the credit was? All right.
It was, yeah.
Sorry, Dave. Shout out to Another Vice, who gifted 20 Hometown Ghost Stories memberships in live chat on YouTube. And then Ryan P came in with 10 gifted memberships as well. So thank you guys so much for the generosity. We appreciate that very much. And what's up to everybody hanging out in live chat? So glad you could spend this Tuesday with us on this November day, back in Canada for another episode. We've covered Canada a couple times, but I think this might be our first time in Alberta, correct?
It's definitely our first time in Calgary is what I can say. Also heard somebody pronouncing it Calgary, like there's like a space in between. And I refuse to do that, even if that's correct.
We do a lot of pronunciations incorrect on this show. It's kind of our shtick. We don't mean to sometimes, but, that's what happens. It happens
But this
sometimes.
time I do mean it, because I'm not saying Calgary. It sounds awful.
No. But if you have any friends named Gary and you haven't called them in a long time, give them a call, because you never know what Gary could be going through. So
that's going to do it for the show, everybody. We'll see you next week.
I will say this. We almost bought a pirate ship this week, and I'm pretty upset that it didn't go through. So we weren't able to acquire the pirate ship. Just wanted to give everyone an update on that. Pretty disappointing news.
It wasn't for a lack of trying. Soph put in some hard bidding work, but it was like an actual size pirate ship that you could put in your yard, and it would have been pretty awesome.
Would have been great. Would have been good for the Hometown Ghost Stories set. I will also address this. The Army Corps. Is that actually what it's called in Canada, or is it the Army Corps?
No, it's the Army Corps.
But Army Corps makes it sound a little more creepy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't, Dave, you don't know.
Rob, the only former military member of this panel, gets Army Corps wrong. That's fine.
Sometimes you just start reading it, man. Sometimes you just read and you power through, and whatever, you just let the chips fly wherever they may.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you can't let the pirate ships fly wherever it may, because we don't have one now.
No, we almost had one.
How great it would have been to do like our next campfire ghost stories, just sitting on top of a pirate ship.
You know what? This presents a really good opportunity for us to just go steal it, like actual pirates would do.
Yeah,
It's a good thing we're putting this to thousands and thousands of people. Our plans of stealing a pirate ship. That's not going to hinder us in court or anything.
I mean, it would be a good defense in court. Be like, it's a pirate ship. We're just doing what pirates do.
What
You
else?
don't want to have your stuff stolen. Don't be a pirate.
Yeah. Shouldn't have been waving that flag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're talking about Calgary today. Cool looking city. Another one with a little Space Needle looking thing. So
Yes.
I had to double check and triple check on that footage to make sure that we were actually using footage of the right place. But apparently they have one of those. And it looks cool.
I also had to double check and triple check to make sure we were using footage of the right place when I was looking at that. Before we jump into it, though, I just want to address our RIP of the week. Big shout out to Jeannie R, who's going through some stuff right now. So I just want to say that we are sending out our thoughts to you. So you are the RIP of the week. And if you are not a member of Patreon, you should be, especially if you want to join the top 2 tiers. Right now, we have a special bonus episode out about doppelgangers and some of the craziest doppelganger stories in the history. So you can go check that out now if you are on the top 2 tiers of Patreon. And if you want to join the Ghost Pirate Mafia tier, speaking of pirates, for $3 a month, you can get ad-free episodes as well.
Yeah, go check it out. Been missing out if you haven't. But if you can't support the show financially, that's okay. We understand. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and leave a little comment. We'll read it up.
Yeah, and it's almost the Christmas season, so tell your family and friends to give you their phone, and you can leave a 5-star review on their phone as well.
It's a good idea. And you can keep their phone.
Yeah.
Because they gave it to you. So
Because it's the holiday season, and that's allowed.
that's right. It's a season for taking. That's what some say.
It's only allowed if you have a pirate ship.
That's right. Which we don't right now. So we will be stealing no phones until we acquire that pirate ship one way or another. All right. Anyways, talking about Canada today. A bunch of haunted locations in Calgary. Very cool. And some really dark stories as well.
Yeah, we get sort of the gambit of everything for the 3 locations we're covering today in Calgary. Calgary is a city that we're going to cover multiple times, by the way. I've always had trouble finding haunted locations in Canada, like well-researched ones anyways, but Calgary seems to be pretty loaded. So we'll have multiple locations. We have the playground today, we have the Lougheed House, and we have the Deane House, which are all different in their own right. And I think we should kick it off by talking about the Devil's Playground, because it's the coolest name of all the locations that we're covering today.
Also, probably the most horrible story.
Yes, if it's true. So that's the other problem with this story is we don't know if it actually happened. And
One of those.
yeah, it's one of those where they can't prove it didn't happen, but they can't prove that it did. They believe it would have been the early 1900s, late 1800s. My guess would be that if it did happen, it was like a one-room schoolhouse situation. But there's no documentation at all that this occurred other than word of mouth. And there was even a documentary crew that went up there to try to get to the bottom of it. Did it happen or did it not happen? And they did a ton of research and they're just like, it's inconclusive. We cannot figure out if this actually happened or not. But the story is that late 1800s, early 1900s, a school caught on fire and some of the students didn't make it out. And that number alters from 3 to 8, right, depending on where you're doing your research on this. And research is going to be a key topic of this particular episode as we go through some of these locations. Just because there's so many stories and locations that have histories that when you're researching, you should always be doing multiple sources because it gets real tough sometimes with some of these, but we'll talk a little more about that later. So they know that they believe the school burnt down, students were in it. Some say it was just a regular accident. I've seen reports that people were trying to blame it on a nun. And I think that's just someone that's conjecture at this point, because if a nun went crazy, I think we would have that in writing somewhere that some nun went crazy and burnt the school down.
Was it a Catholic school?
Who knows? Nobody knows.
There would definitely be a record of that. But
You would think so,
but there's none.
but there's none.
Ah.
I know. So that is the story there. It's like sort of on the outskirts of Calgary, and it's basically like a couple old houses in the area and a big field. And there's no sign of where the house used to be, but people who have gone there have reported hearing kids singing, kids laughing as well. And this is the classic people have felt their shirts getting tugged there. And just all of this typical children ghost hauntings that we all hate and are terrified of. But we don't know if it happened.
Getting your shirt tugged is a pretty common, typical haunting, but of the common and typical hauntings, it's one of the more alarming, right? Because it's actually touching you.
That, and it, like when you associate it with the ghosts of kids, it's kind of like, hey, mister, like it seems like a thing that an actual kid would do.
Yeah. And if it's like a 6-year-old kid from like the 1800s, you're like, go get in the factory. What are you doing tugging on my shirt?
Yeah. You got work to do.
To work.
Don't you have a 20-hour day to work?
So that's the Devil's Playground. Couldn't base an entire episode around it because of just how brief the hauntings are. Tough to get firsthand accounts. This is also an open field, so a lot of your techniques, it's on private property, so you can't go there anyways.
Shouldn't go there.
I'm sorry?
Said shouldn't go there.
Shouldn't go there. Correct. You will get arrested.
Yeah.
Although, do they arrest you in Canada, or are they just like, they just start weeping and
they give you money and apologize actually in Canada if you commit a crime.
That's what I figured. So, but the outside, as we know, an outside investigation is tough to do because there's so much that can interfere with your equipment in general. You can't use motion sensors outside. It's just going to go off most likely. Tougher to hear anything that's sound oriented. Dowsing rods, unless it's 30-mile-an-hour wind, as we have in Austin. You probably shouldn't use those either. So, just doing investigations outside, it's always like something I want to do, but it's just
just when you do it, you have to take a whole different approach. It is tricky.
Yeah, got to be very intuitive on that. So that is the Devil's Playground,
which is a pretty cool name, but I don't think it's the coolest of the Devil's name. for locations. You have like Devil's Ridge, Devil's Backbone. You have the Devil's Pit. The Devil's Punch Bowl is a place, but the Devil's Playground is cool. But it's like the kid version,
kind of. But if you think about it, like in other terms, like that's where the devil goes to play. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, picture the devil going down like a twirly slide. That's scary stuff. Monkey bars. Like the devil's coming to get me, but he's just crawling slowly on me.
Just on a swing.
He's coming to get me.
Spinning really fast on the tire swing.
It'd be so like it's like mental gymnastics with him on the swing because he's like, oh, he's coming to get me. Oh no, he's going away. Oh, he's coming to get me again. You know, that's the back and forth that you get on a swing set.
Yeah. I like the Devil's Playground more so than a lot of the names that you mentioned.
I agree.
So you have now voted. You have
Devil's
to leave the
Punch
show now,
Bowl is
dude.
fun. What is the Devil's Punch Bowl?
I don't know. I just saw it listed here on name with the. Let me see. It's in Oregon. That's all I know.
All right.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for contributing to the show, Dave.
It's a large sandstone bowl that lies on Oregon's north coast, about 200 kilometers southwest of Portland. It's a cavern formed from the collapse of 2 sea caves and tantalizes visitors of all ages. Careful, though. You can only hike inside the cavern during low tide. Oh, that's terrifying. Because if you go in there during low tide and you stick around too long, you're going to get drowned.
You won't be tantalized much longer. That's what they say.
Tenderized because you'd be like one of Jesse's octopuses.
That's right.
So that is the Devil's Playground. The next thing is the Lougheed House. Is that how we decided to pronounce it, Jesse?
Lougheed is how they pronounced it in like the official YouTube channel for the location. So that's what we went with, and it's probably wrong.
Yeah, we'll get some emails. Don't worry about it.
Also, the Canadian military said that it is the Army Corps.
Yeah. So have you decided to eat an entire bag of dicks, Dave? Because you should after that.
Wait,
I also, for the record, I made that up. But that won't stop Dave.
So the Lougheed House is an interesting haunting because we get to do one that doesn't have really any negative connotation to it. Like there's some sad stories of stuff that happened to the Lougheeds in life later, but the hauntings aren't malicious. It's just more, it feels like most of them are probably residual hauntings. I don't even know if there's any intelligent hauntings based on some of the stuff that they've gotten in there. Now, they did have the daughter who was almost 13 years old. She was like 3 days short of her 13th birthday, who did pass away. She was, from all the reports I could see, she was sick throughout her life. And I think that influenza took her life when she was 12. So that is sad, but she seems to be a playful spirit in the afterlife. Her mother is often seen looking out the window. So we have a family haunting here.
That's Isabella, right?
That is Isabella, correct. And the reason I did this entire location, the Lougheed House, is they have a haunting that I don't think we've seen. A pair of ballroom dancers that just people have seen 2 people dancing across a ballroom floor before they disappear. So I thought that was pretty cool. Although, yeah, maybe it was the Bonnie and Clyde one at that. I think like there's a hotel that Bonnie and Clyde are seen at that people have been seen dancing, if I remember correctly.
I believe there was also a haunting at one of the hotels we covered in New Hampshire for the Haunted Hotels of the North episode.
Well, whatever. This is the 3rd ballroom dance.
This is roughly the 3rd to 5th one we got, and it's just as special as the rest.
Yes, this is the first one in the last year, we'll say. Doing the show for a while, boys.
True.
But yeah. So I still thought it was a pretty cool haunting. I came across like a really fascinating book because as I said, this is going to be all about research this episode. And when I was researching the Lougheed House, I was trying to look up what happened to each of the children that the Lougheeds had and what happened to the house and everything. And I was looking for Edgar, like what happened to Edgar. And I found a book where it just gives like a paragraph of a bunch of different people in alphabetical order, and I think it might have been people that were part of the military. So it had a couple of the Lougheed children in it, and it's like gives a paragraph of like what happened to them after the military. It was just like the strangest book I've ever seen in my life, and that's where because I was looking up what happened to Edgar or how he passed away because he died at 30.
It's pronounced Egder.
Yeah, Ed Corpse.
Now it is.
I was trying to figure out what happened to him at 30, and it seems like it was one of those things the family didn't want to talk about, and the book sort of alludes to like he had a history of depression and possibly ended up taking his own life, but you don't see that anywhere else but in this book. So it was kind of kept under wraps for the family. But the family built this elegant house, and it hosted like all the famous people, all high-ranking officials. They had a lot of holiday events at this place. And then during the Great Depression, the family just basically lost all their money. The parents were dead at this point, and the town ended up repossessing the house over unpaid taxes. So
brutal.
Yeah, so that's how they ended up losing the house, and then it lived a ton of different lives, and now it's a museum for it's called the Lougheed Museum, as you could have seen in some of the footage if you watched the video. You get to see actually for one time a good walkthrough of the place, which we don't get very often.
We barely get it when we do the walkthroughs.
That's true. That's true. But there's, this is just, I like being able to balance out some of the scarier and tragic hauntings with ones that, there was tragedy within this family, but the hauntings, none of these hauntings seem malicious at the Lougheed House, which is good. We need some of those in our lives every once in a while.
I agree.
Yeah. So the Lougheed House is pretty cool. Probably not a place that we could ever investigate because it is a museum, but you never know. Maybe eventually, maybe eventually they'll allow some investigations in there. People have done some, and they've gotten some responses on the spirit box. But it seems like if there is an intelligent haunt there, it is Marjorie, which was the younger daughter that passed away. They seem to, people feel like her presence like following them, and again they think that she answered on a spirit box one time. They got a spirit box response, so I think people are sort of going through the museum tour and maybe ducking in a corner and trying to get some responses here and there, is the way I take it. But
yeah, that makes sense. You can tell people that they don't host actual investigations, but it's hard to stop people from doing their own mini investigations while on tour.
Yeah. And it seems like when I was watching some videos on the place, it seems like the grounds, at least the outside, people just kind of go there and hang out. Like it just like, it has these beautiful gardens outside. It's a really cool house, by the way. If you haven't, if you guys didn't see the video, it's super cool. It's awesome. And it's great that the house is still there, because if you look into the history of Calgary, not Calgary, we're not going to say that. This is a city that basically just, when they're done with something, they tear it down and rebuild. So they don't preserve a ton of their history in this city, which I get. It's a good and a bad thing, I guess, because you do need to be progressing your city, but sometimes you're losing too much. So I don't even know all the things that they've actually lost, but I'm glad that this is one that's still there.
Yeah, it's always bittersweet to see cities kind of upgrading, or towns upgrading from the old historical stuff to the newer stuff, but also you kind of got to do it sometimes.
Yeah, Boston, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
Tear down Fenway Park. It's a dump.
I like Fenway.
Fenway sucks, dude.
It's fun to go to, though. It's a fun
It's
time.
fun to go to once. Like the first time you go to Fenway, you're like, this is cool.
I want to push back on that. I don't think I've ever had I've never gone to Fenway like, this place sucks. It's always like, it's a great time. I mean, it's expensive. It's ranked as, I think, one of the top 3 most expensive beers you could buy at a sporting event. But overall, I don't have any issues with Fenway. Seats aren't great.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, and you're looking at the person sitting next to you because the seats don't face the field.
It's the seat. Yeah, the seating is ridiculous.
There-
And there is a chance that you end up with a pole right in front of you.
We've had those seats. Me and Dave are just behind a pole. My parents are sitting next to us with a beautiful view of the field. We're like, thanks for bringing us discounted seats. Can't move it up.
Well, they're like, hey, who paid?
Exactly. Yeah. We'll tell you what's going on.
Yeah, sounds like you guys had a great time at Fenway. Glad
Fenway's fine. Fenway's fine.
Sucks. Fenway sucks. It's a dump. It needs to be redone. Anyways, that's not in Calgary. They have the Stampede, which we'll talk about in the future because there are hauntings associated with the Stampede as well. But before we get to the Deane House, I think that we should talk about the Zoo Bridge because I didn't want to dig too deep into the history of this one because it's really brutal. And I'm sure you can hear about it on plenty of true crime podcasts. So we're going to kind of briefly go over that and hit the hauntings. But Dave, do you want to tell us about the Zoo Bridge?
Yeah, I'll tell you about the Zoo Bridge. I'll tell you the hauntings and I'll give you the backstory. It is pretty brutal though, so viewer discretion advised. So as far as the hauntings go, this bridge, which is it's there. The bridge that's there now was replaced in 2017. So if you're at the location, you're like, this bridge doesn't look very historic. It's not. The old one was replaced about 8 years ago. But there's another bridge there now, and it's actually still haunted because of what happened historically. Now, the hauntings are this 9-year-old boy shows up, and he shows up under the bridge, and there are several different haunting stories that are tied to him. One of them that I thought was pretty cool was there's a ghost tour that goes on there, and during one tour, the tour guide said that a little boy told his mother that there was another little boy under the bridge who had a ball and wanted him to come play, and he asked if he could. And of course, they said, no, you're not going to go play with the boy under the bridge. That's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
They also said that there are workers at the security shack at the end of the bridge where the children's playground, where the events of the past happened, that I'll get into in a minute. But they hear a knock at the door, and later, the little ghost boy brings them a ball. So if you roll a ball in, the ghost brings the ball back. And passersby have reported hearing a young boy calling for help beneath the bridge. To this day, emergency services receive several calls to the bridge each year, despite never having found a boy in question. So the cops get called, and the mounted police show up, expecting to find a boy under the bridge, but they do not, ever.
Yeah, you always got to respond to that call.
You do, right? I mean, I don't know if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm being serious. Like,
Yeah,
you have to respond to it. Like, because
So the history of this, as you can imagine, is pretty brutal, and it's all a very true story, well documented. And the story is in 1946, a young 6-year-old boy named Donnie Goss and some neighborhood children were playing at the park on southeast end of St. George's Island when they were approached by Donald Sherman Staley. Staley asked the group of kids if they wanted to play. Knowing that they were not supposed to play with the strangers, Donnie and his friends said no, so Staley left the park. But Staley returned the next day, and Donnie was there playing in the park alone. Staley again approached him and asked if he wanted to play because Donnie had already met him, he said, oh, he's not a stranger anymore, so he agreed. And Staley took Donnie under the bridge where he assaulted him before stabbing him 17 times. He then dragged the body back to the playground and assaulted it again. There was another murder.
That's an awful story.
Yeah. And this was, 4th of July in Vancouver. This was before the events with Donnie. And there was another incident. So the British Columbia Stanley Park along the western coast of Canada, where the same man, Staley, he met and befriended Bobby Sherman, age 8, and 11-year-old Gary Billings. Mind you, this is an adult. So that day, he treated the boys to ice cream and snacks, and they hung out on the beach. And before parting, Staley gave the boys a couple of dollars with a promise of more if they came back to spend the next day with him at the beach again. The boys had been so excited about their day at the beach they spent with Staley that they had both told their parents about the generous man who brought them treats and had taken them part of the way home on his streetcar. But neither mentioned planning to meet him again. The next day, Bobby showed up late to Gary's house only to find that he had already left for the beach. So his disappointment soon turned to concern when Gary never returned home. Weeks later, there was still no sign of Gary. While authorities and family members searched frantically for Gary, Staley headed to Calgary, where he would later lure Donnie into danger by promising treats and money. Around the time of Donnie's murder, the decomposing corpse of Gary Billings was unearthed from the shallow grave in Stanley Park, and Gary had been savagely stabbed to death, assaulted both before and after his death, and the body buried beneath some logs in a nearby grove. So it did take the police kind of a while to connect the two, but they did end up connecting the two stories. So Staley, basically, he murdered the one boy over in Vancouver and then went to Calgary and murdered the other boy. And he was arrested, tried, and he tried to, this is preposterous, listen to this. He was tried, but he tried to do the insanity plea like every murderer does. And this was his plea to the court. Quote, "I must have been born this way and should not be held responsible for what I have done, but should receive treatment of some kind instead of being condemned to die for something that I can't help." So it was an insanity plea because he couldn't help it, which means he was his. And of course, thankfully, the jury was like, no, we're not buying that. And they found him guilty and he was hanged.
Good. Yes. Yeah, this is one of those cases where I think universally people are like, yeah, no, not going to fly with me. No sympathy for these kinds of monsters, and just firing squad or the most painful, unimaginable death ever, because don't give a shit.
Yeah. Also,
you're just horrible.
If you're going to plead insanity, you got to at least try to sound insane, not, I must have been born this way and should not be held responsible for my actions. Like,
yeah.
That's
how Canadians sound, by the way. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Yeah. So, yeah, that guy sucks. So they hanged him. And he was actually the last person hanged in Canada before they outlawed capital punishment.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's been more that have deserved it since then, but at least they ended it on the lowest low note that you can, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So terrifying hauntings with a terrifying backstory that happened at the zoo bridge.
Right. And the backstory makes the hauntings all that much more tragic and scary.
Right.
Yep.
So that brings us to the Deane House, which is a house, Jesse, that has been moved twice.
I was just agreeing that it's a house, but
it is. But
interesting.
Yeah, although it was at the live show, we covered multiple houses at our live show.
Yeah, they got moved around.
Yeah. Here's another one that got moved. And we actually had pictures of this one getting moved because Popular Mechanics went down and took some interviews and pictures of the house being moved one of the times, which is pretty cool.
So did they also move it by water?
Yeah, that picture, well, they showed it moving it across the river. So they were using the logs to move it across the river rather than moving it by water. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. But this house has a pretty interesting history. It was built in the early 1900s for Deane and his wife, because his wife did not want to live in the barracks at the fort that was there. So they were building her house, and she unfortunately passed away before the house was completed. So Deane lived at the house for a very short time, and then it sort of that area got sold to a railroad company, and the railroad company sort of used it to house people and other things. Towards the 1920s, they tore everything around it down except for the house, moved the house, and then it sort of just lived a bunch of different lives. It was a boarding house for a long time, from like the 30s to the 70s, and then it was sort of like an artsy place in the 70s, and then it sort of like sat there, and they had it restored. So almost got tore down quite a few times, but they were able to preserve it. And now it's a restaurant, and not just like a restaurant, but like a fine dining restaurant and a place that they hold a ton of weddings. So just ran a full gamut of like different things that this place was. And that checks out because the hauntings of this place are vast. Like there's so many backstories, so many different hauntings. I'm going to be honest. I think that people are just sort of throwing stories at this place occasionally too, because there's just so many different things that people are attributing to hauntings here. But it's been a restaurant for a while, and the restaurant, I found some videos of like I think he was at the time of the video, at least like 2 years ago, he was the current like restaurant manager. He sat down for an interview and like he wasn't like poo-pooing it being haunted, but he was just like, I've never seen anything and none of my staff have reported anything. I've been here for like a year and a half. So it makes you wonder where some of these stories are coming from. And the stories are quite terrifying though. And some of the history of the place is terrifying as well.
Yeah. I mean, it could be three things with the owner. Number one is he's just a skeptic or is it he or she? I'm sorry.
He.
Okay, so number one is he's a skeptic who doesn't believe in this stuff and refuses to believe in it. Number two, maybe he just hasn't experienced anything yet. Or number three, he's purposely in denial just to save face so it doesn't spook customers, because it sounds like they're doing fine as a restaurant anyways. You see some places that will go one way or another on it where they'll embrace it to bring in business. You know, come to our haunted restaurant and we swear to God it's haunted, and you'll probably have poltergeist activity just to bring in business if the place is slow. But it sounds like this place is probably doing all right. I mean, the pictures that you showed, the food looked, like upscale stuff. So
yeah, again, they're doing weddings here, so I don't think they're really promoting the haunted aspect of the restaurant.
And that doesn't mean he's experiencing stuff and denying it. It could also just be he hasn't experienced anything yet.
Yeah, and based on his interview, that's sort of the way I took it, was because he seemed like he was open to it, but he just said that he personally hadn't experienced anything, and he had been managing the place for a little over a year. So
yeah,
he sat down to do the interview. So kudos for him, because it was like it wasn't for the restaurant, it was for the history of the house. So I'm glad that, because a lot of times you see people won't actually do that. They won't actually sit down for that stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool of him to do that. But this is another one with history that we have some solid history of it. We have some murky history that goes on here. And I'll sort of hit it through the timeline of events that I know of. The first one is the high school student that allegedly was getting bullied because of his epilepsy in the 1930s. And basically he was going to school, allegedly getting bullied. He went up to the attic and decided to end it all in the attic.
Man, kids suck. Like this stuff happens too. Like I couldn't imagine being like, look at your disability. Like that's such a crappy thing to do, but kids suck. I remember like when we were growing up, one of our friends, he lived close to us and like his father had passed away. And I'll just never forget that the kids were bullying him because his father passed away. It's like, dude, how awful are children sometimes? Like, dude, there's no stopping them sometimes.
Yeah.
Be nice. Teach kids to be nice.
If you are one of those bully kids, don't go trick-or-treating at Jesse's house.
Yeah. You get no candy from me. That's right.
That's true. So I couldn't find any documentation on this. Again, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It was a minor. So who knows how much newspaper publicity in the 1930s it was getting. But some of the most interesting hauntings do happen in the attic of the Deane House. There is two things that are very much associated with the attic. And I talked about one of them a little bit in the video. I didn't really talk about the other one at all. There's the blood stain in the attic. And God, was I looking for pictures of this. I could not find.
Yeah, this is one that I had heard about as well while researching the place. 1999 and super chat from Tess says, sorry I'm late. I'm at Chili's drinking. Jealous.
So the blood stain in the attic, they've tried to wash it. They've tried to paint over it. And they can't get it to go away. But not only does it not go away, but it changes in color and size. So it's not just the same blood stain all the time. It's allegedly different shades of red and different sizes. almost like it's different variations of how dried it is or like
Right.
how fresh it is. So find that to be a really unique haunting in terms of the bloodstain, because we've had other bloodstain hauntings, but I don't remember them changing in size and color like this one is alleged to do.
No, I don't think so. That's pretty unique. We've had them show up through multiple coats of paint, and no matter how much, despite cleaning, we've had them where you scrub them and they go away and then they come back after it dries.
Yeah.
So this is a unique one. I don't know what that could be. Changing in size and shape. It's weird.
Yeah, I saw people trying to explain it. And I feel like if you had listened to them explain it however they were explaining it, you could have waved them as somebody that deals with this stuff a little bit more. They were like, it's the linoleum that's blah, 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 and the temperature atmosphere. And I'm just like, where's Dave when I need him?
Yeah, because usually when I hear those, I'm like less convinced than I was before. I'm like, I'm just going with ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing in the attic that happens is there's a closet up there that staff will put stuff in the closet and lock the door. And they'll come back upstairs and they'll find the lock like thrown across the room, the door open, and the items missing. Then they'll find the items in like different parts of the restaurant.
Weird.
Allegedly. So there's that whole thing, which not an uncommon one. We've definitely heard of doors.
No, I mean, well, the doors is one thing, but the items disappearing, reappearing in other places, very common in poltergeist situations.
Yes. So that's the attic of the Deane House. Very cool haunting there. The next one is the tragedy that happened in 1971. And this is why I'm bringing up the research thing. I checked 3 different sites on the Deane House looking up the hauntings. And every single one of those 3 sites, the first 3 sites that I went to, were listing the married couple that lost their lives in this house. You know, obviously one did all of that. Trying not to hit key buzzwords to get demonetized on YouTube here, but you guys know what I'm saying.
Right.
Basically, everything was saying 1952. I ended up finding the couple's name. I looked up the newspaper articles and it happened in 1971. And that's why you need to just double check all your research when you're researching a location, because it's not hard to get facts mixed up if you're only looking at one source or 2 sources. So
that's a pretty big difference.
It's a huge difference.
It's a huge difference. And if you're, I will stress this again because we're in the world of AI now. Do not use just AI for research. You use it as a tool to then do stuff, because sometimes if ChatGPT or Grok or whatever AI you might use to research something, it might just make stuff up sometimes. Yeah. And then you correct it and it'll be like, oh, my bad. Yeah, I was wrong. You're like, you're a computer. Don't do that. Yeah. Like, I trusted you. Yeah. So like a lot of these, because you'll see this all the time now too, while you're researching, is you research stuff and you see an article. And as soon as you can recognize the writing, you're like, oh, this is written by ChatGPT. Oh, yeah. I got a bunch of stuff wrong, because it's like a dog. Like, it's just going to try to please you no matter what. So it's just going to give you what you want. Right. And yeah, and it's not at a point right now where everything that it does is correct. We've gotten books, a couple of books that we've noticed recently are just like fully written by ChatGPT. You're like, this, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're not an author. You know,
I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, as Jesse said, that's a tool, not a solution. I use it just basically to help me start narrowing down locations to cover.
Yeah, oh no, it's a very useful tool, but use it as a tool, not as a source.
Right.
Is my point. Yeah.
Right. So just if you're looking up places, make sure you're looking at multiple locations, like multiple sources. And if you can find a newspaper article, which you cannot always find a newspaper article, but those are the best sources of anything that you can find by far, because it happened at the time. Right. So getting off my high horse now, we have that tragedy that happened there. We had the drive-by shooting that I also could not find more information on than just mentions of that. So but I had no year to go off of for that. I had no name, so that was a little bit tougher to figure out if that actually happened or not.
I was just shocked there was a drive-by shooting in Canada. I think chat was surprised as well. I was like, I never heard of such a thing.
Drove by and threw money at him, and he died of shock.
It's a drive-by apology. We're sorry. Yeah.
I did find that a person that lived there during the boarding, when it was like a boarding home, passed away in there, and there is a room where they smell cigar smoke, even though nobody's allowed to smoke in there, obviously, anymore. And they believe it's attributed to that man, that he died in his chair and he used to smoke a ton of cigars. So we get the cigar smoke in this location.
That's a first.
Definitely a first. We get the native man that shows up as well. And I do find this one interesting. He shows up and he tells people they should leave the house.
And basically, this is one of those one that is, I hate, this is another trope of every haunted location. It was on Native American burial ground, but this one has been confirmed that it was on native land. I can't remember the name of the tribe that it was on. But
native land, it's sacred land, but it's not a burial ground. This is right at the corner of the rivers. And this is a place that they use to stay, hunt, fish. Like, they considered it sacred land at this particular point. So not a burial ground, but theoretically sacred land. So it does make sense that they would be haunting here.
Micah says that in the future, ghost hunters will smell weed smoke. I think they're going to smell vape.
Yeah. You're like, oh my God, do you smell that cherry vape again?
It smells like strawberry cheesecake.
That's exactly what's going to happen in the next 50 years.
Not in Massachusetts, because they banned fun flavors. Now they're like, wow, it smells like a wet sock.
That's one of the worst smells of all time. But yeah, a lot of tragedy at this place. The Deane House is littered with a bunch of different stories. Oh, the phantom phone. They had a phone in there that they never plugged in and it would just start ringing.
Yeah, like never ever. So yeah. All right. Why'd you buy it?
Yeah. My assumption is like they have a lot of the rooms set up like they would have been set up back in the early 1900s.
So maybe they bought it. Okay, so it's never been plugged in there, but I'm sorry, I'm punching my mic. Maybe they bought an antique phone and just put it in there, but never actually wired it up.
That's what I think happened.
Okay, so maybe it has been plugged in somewhere else at some time, but just not there. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that was the situation.
Well, actually, it doesn't make sense at all, which is why it could be a haunting.
Right, exactly. So there's that one as well. But yeah, very cool location. I still want to do Prince Edward Island, but if we were to go to a city in Canada so far for like haunted stuff, again, we have to do. I found a couple haunted bars we got to cover in the future here as well.
Yeah,
there's so many haunted things in Calgary, and I don't love going to cities for haunted stuff, but this is a cool one.
Calgary would be cool. I've heard nothing but good things about Alberta. I've heard better things about Vancouver, just in terms of just overall stunningness and beauty. But I wouldn't. Yeah, there's so much to cover in Canada, so it could be fun.
There is, but that's going to do it for our first Calgary episode.
Calgary.
It's like that one podcast that I heard when they were pronouncing Salem Salam.
Salam.
Unexcusable.
Yeah, peace be with you.
There's so many towns in Massachusetts that you get a pass for not pronouncing properly.
Especially
I know, because there's so many crazy named towns in Massachusetts. Gloucester, Worcester. Those are like, of course you can't pronounce those ones, but Salem?
Yeah.
Salem?
Yeah. Salem. And I get upset when people pronounce Taunton wrong, even though I get it. Taunton
is way more fun. Like, actually, I feel like we're missing out by not saying it like that. We're going to say it like that from now on.
We should. But we should only do it when we're in Taunton.
Taunton.
Just go, because that will anger everyone that is there.
Yeah, and that's if we survive.
Yeah, we'll get stabbed in the green. It's no big deal. Don't worry about it. Like, we're just trying to go to El Mariachi's. We just want some food. Shanked right by the big Christmas tree.
I believe for now there's still like an abandoned old tuberculosis hospital or old asylum or something like that that's out there that I think they're planning on tearing down. So we might have to go to Salem soon. I mean, not Salem, to Taunton sooner or later.
Taunton. We're going to go there really soon. I'm going to hit a couple quick reviews just from our last episode from last week when we covered the Preston Castle in California with Bridget Marquardt.
In Ione, California.
Yes, and Ione. Come join the chat, Bridget. I am loving every part of this episode. Was from Green Fairy, and we got a ton of positive comments on YouTube as well. Enjoying our episode with Bridget. You'll see us on her show very soon, Ghost Bunny. And found out today that our episode with Chris Jericho did over 100,000 views on YouTube. So that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
as well.
That's awesome.
Small potatoes.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just mentioning the small potatoes. I like small potatoes. No, thank you all. If you haven't checked that out yet, go check that out. Talk is Jericho. Always a pleasure to be on that show. We covered the Smurl family hauntings.
Small potatoes.
Small potato. Oh,
there we go.
That sounds like the grossest appetizer of all time.
30 seconds late on that phenomenal joke.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything with Smurl potatoes. But anyways, again, make sure you sign up for Patreon. Leave us 5-star reviews.
Yeah, get us the first edition Hometown Ghost Stories cookbook. We'll teach you how to cook Smurl potatoes.
Yeah, they're
And
just bruised and gross.
All right, we've exhausted this joke. Moving on, let's thank our patrons. Starting with our VIPs, we have Wyatt F. Dave can pinpoint Estonia, yet Ohio is a mystery. I'm back after working a month of Spooky Tuesday. Jennifer A. The blackest night falls from the skies. The darkness grows. All light dies. We crave your hearts and your demise. By my black hand, the dead shall rise. With
Jesse just conjuring a demon every episode.
Wait, is that the thing that you didn't want to read?
It wasn't the thing, but
sounds like it could have been.
It could have been.
Yep. KCW, I am still here. I will be back soon. Just dealing with life. Brandina 77. Kathy F. Ghost Nurse JP. Another Vice. I'm Jesse Wilkins. Tess. Drinking at Chili's.
Yeah.
Jealous. I don't speak bird, but I do be flapping. Kate and Steve M. Glitter Tees. Cami from Washington. Kelly C. Liz Young. Chris C. LBPS founder. Inspires Gaming. Allison V. Robert H. Genie. Raven Lunatic. Mom and Pops W. Father Squash the Elder. Lisa J. And I, Jesse Wilkins, am a tool. What the hell? Who did that? Who is this?
It's going to be Mike Blake, right?
Yes.
They pay $20. They're allowed to do it.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, moving on. I'm offended. On to the Warren's Wards. We have Nikki, Linda F., nuclear Christmas tree owning underground bingo hopper. I, Dave Wilkins, am a tool.
I don't think that is
all right, fine. Fine, it's Robin W. Crystal V. Canada loves HTGS. Joe in the Dogs, Freya and Frank. Mothman gathers ghouls for ghostly shoveling service. Masshole medic Susan C. Rob is a tool. T-Cat Whisper. Rob's belly button. That was definitely in there. Rob's belly button is the best glory hole. No lint. 10 out of 10. Jeremy M. Beth C. Sarah B. Her Lady Spook Ship. Victim of Ohio. Oh, this one is just Rob and Dave, but not Jesse, our tools. So that's a good one. Morgan S. Colby always remembers. Kath Q. The other Rachel B. Resting. Witch Face Mar Fire. Lily. Often imitated, never duplicated. The locally famous Anthony T. from the 603. Rob's belly button creates sandpaper. A big bug bit the little bug, but the little bug bit Rob's belly button.
Nice.
I crushed that. That was great. I had a fun time doing that. I'm going to do that again. I'm not. Ghost, Schools, Ghost, Ghostbusters, Ghost, Ghosties, Ghost Rob, Seth on guitar. Dave doesn't know where Tennessee is, but physics, no problem. And finally, we have the Ghost Pirate Mafia. Let's start that off with the absolutely glorious The Luna Joker 07, Lil Cat 02, Damian B, Jet L, Rachel P, Jody L, insert PD Pablo reference here, Chicky Ticky 67, Tez F, FM Cop, Marcus yeeted the rocks from the rockless forest. Oh, so a little update on Marcus. If you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, we were doing the haunted eBay items, and we had all agreed to bid on Marcus, the haunted bug-eyed Santa doll thing. But the seller had just taken it. They didn't even take the item offline. They didn't sell out. Just the thing when I clicked the link to buy it was just the seller is taking a break.
Yeah. I meant to send you a follow-up update. It's available again.
Is it all right? We're gonna buy that tonight. All right, fine. But what the hell? Don't take
Yeah.
a break.
Yeah. Let us buy your shit.
Take our money.
Yeah, deactivate your account or something. I don't know. That actually, I've never seen something like that. Ninja Clown, Cammy and Steve R, Shag to the Bone 33, TV, GS Warrior, Cult of the Miscellany, GOB, Grim BD, Loves Ketchup on Eggs, Just Ghostly, Witchy Kitty 416, Michael M, Amber R, Brant C, Joe, Christina S, Kate C, Kelly C, bloop, bloop. Cowboys are the worst franchise ever, Miss Macabre, Nuroku, Rachel G, Cold Warrior, ain't nothing like a baby fart. D from H-Town, Meta A.
What?
Monster...
Wait a minute.
That's been there for a couple weeks.
Has it?
Yeah. Monster Mom 04, Dave D, Wicked Alley, Dark Snark. Did you know that the Lego universe... did you know that in the Lego universe, all surgeons are plastic surgeons?
Hell
That's
yeah.
very true. Arcade Hunters, Wayne C, Crystal Quinn, Halloween 3 is the best, and Rob has bad taste. Also true. Thick Boy Freddy's baby mama was definitely yeeted. Alicia E. Thick Boy Freddy got caught by Rafferty's. Please call Ron Meshmesher for me. I'm locked up with the ghost of Al Capone. Help. that was thorough. Next HTGS fan investigation will be held in Rob's Belly Button, Ohio. Sam from Nepal, Joe R, Just Al Capone, Huggy Bear. I am the Chunkosaurus Rex, the rotund rodent kneel before my plumpness. Anna C, Solar Flare, Mariah M, Kirley J, Cody G, Hooply Wooply, Soph, and Fergus the Mad. I'm so glad we get to end with Andrew's Patreon names. You can join Patreon, create a ridiculous name or a normal name. You know, $3 a month to get you there. Like Rob said earlier, ad-free episodes, bonus content, discount codes, behind the scenes stuff, and all sorts of goodies. So think about swinging by doing that. And once again, big shout out to another Vice, Ryan P and Tess, who donated in Super Chat, and happy resub day to the legendary Nancy G. Thank you so much. And that'll pretty much do it. We'll be back on Tuesday with another live episode of Hometown Ghost Stories. Keep an eye out this Friday as we cover a dark mystery with some UFO stuff, which is a lot of fun. Pretty concerning case, actually. One of the more serious UFO cases, but that'll drop on Friday. And then if you want to keep up to date with the movie reviews, check out the new Frankenstein movie on Netflix. And I had fun watching that one. That was a good one. So see what you think. And join us for that if you don't want to have it spoiled, because it is a new movie. And swing over to HTGS Reviews. That's our other YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, drop a sub there. And check out our movie reviews. Also, make sure you hit like and sub on this one.
It's a new movie, but it is a 200-year-old story.
Yeah, but they put their own flair on it. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Also, on the review channel, I'm going to start trying to get video game playthroughs going again now that we've sort of gotten through the big season. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Also, we are now on Kick. So if Kick is a platform that you would like to, watch us from, live streams will happen on Kick, probably some more gaming channels as well. So make sure you drop a follow. You could be our third follower on Kick. Wouldn't that be an honor? I think. I don't know how many. Yeah, we have 2 followers on Kick. It's me and someone else. So yeah,
nice.
swing by Kick and just drop a follow. It's like another Twitch. So it's similar to Twitch, but with it's full of terrible people. So we're now we are the latest terrible people on Kick. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that you like to watch on. We are there. So cool. Anyways, that'll pretty much do it. So tune in next week, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Appreciate it.
Peace.